Director profile of director.
But that's why it says, if you look at the first sentence, board has to satisfy itself that the person has got the required expertise, experience and integrity to be appointed as independent director. Board has to consciously exercise its wisdom and say, this gentleman is fit to be the independent director of my company.
Expertise in writing.
Exactly in that definition, our tune is having maximum integrity. our office keys are with tune only.
There will be definite, I think your point is well taken, there will be definite change in the type of people becoming independent directors. There is no doubt about that. And people who have been independent directors as ornaments, they may withdraw. People independent directors who are serious in their job, they will stay. That's for sure. It's what is calling for is actually, if you look at the whole structure, you should be serious with your job and perform honestly. That's what they are asking for, in fact. Nothing else.
Intention is good, sir, but ultimate result is not desired. Because the way things are managed at penal consequences level and all, so that is not.
That is actually the big problem. Most of the time, when the regulations are made with a good intent. But as regulations become routine, the officers, second, third level officer will start applying them in a mechanical way and they start hounding the people for an unreasonable way. We have seen it actually in many rules that are made. They become checklist kind of things over a period of 3 or 4 years. So the moment it becomes checklist, then it loses the spirit and beauty of the purpose. We understand.
And the provisions are very good, sir. Without any change, they should be made applicable to our MPs and
The kind of compliance cost we
Yes,
will
sir.
have to incur because of this. It's going to be a huge cost for the corporate sector to go through this and then maintain this. So that is going to be a big
Yeah, I think
challenge.
the secretarial job is going to be more complicated. I have no doubt about that. Secretarial job is going to be very much more complicated and it's going to be very sensitive to you.
Maybe here also they should have done 3 layers. Then a group of companies follow all these. Because otherwise a small listed company, because of legacy it is listed. But they do not have the kind of machinery which is expected because of this regulation.
I will recall one discussion. I am a part of one committee there. Maybe I made a precise statement like this, what you said just now. What they said is, listed company is a listed company. Investors can buy the shares and therefore investors are threatened. So all listed companies are same for us, big or small. That's a new regulated statement.
It's true.
It's true, of course. So you're saying something, sir?
Yeah. Most of the tests prescribed in the various rules are subjective, in the sense that they do not have any objective test by which you can judge whether you have done your duty correctly or not. So the difficulty here will always be this way, that whereas according to the director or the independent director, he might have discharged his obligations correctly. On the same set of facts, the government director or the government will come to a different decision. So I think we should represent to the government to say that at least as far as possible there should be more of objective criteria laid down, even in respect of qualitative work, because otherwise it becomes impossible. For example, in our profession,
Yes.
we have a duty to report on the company's accounts. And when we say that it is subject to certain qualifications, the accounts show true and fair. But then if the qualifications are so vital that you cannot say that it shows true and fair, then you have to report that it doesn't show true and fair. Now the question here is, on the same set of qualifications, the government might come to a decision that no, you should have qualified completely. You should have said it doesn't show true and fair. But according to the auditor, it is not so vital that it should have negative, given negative. So our guidance note says that the auditor is the final decider whether, unless it is perverse, but otherwise he is the final judge as to whether he should have qualified negatively, that it doesn't show. Now since that is laid down, because even in the court proceedings also, the judge might feel that you say you should have qualified negatively, whereas the auditor might feel that in certain circumstances, there may be precedents also, he has done his duty by qualifying it. So here also I think some sort of objectivity can be brought, whereby the responsibility of a serious, sincere auditor or sincere director also will be unnecessary.
So do you think, sir, I'm just asking a question, sir, do you think secretarial standards can be of some help in this matter, bringing in some kind of objectivity to this?
Yes, sir.
Because secretarial standards have been made statutory under the Act now.
Right.
So do you think that creation of secretarial standards in this area can be of some help?
Yes, certainly. I think that, because that will at least show the
Give a framework.
minimum expectation of what you are supposed to do. The standard might give as to what is the duty of the director or the independent director, to what extent he should perform. There is a minimum level at which he should do. So if standards are prescribed, as you say, secondary standards, then that will at least meet this difficulty to some extent.
I think we should work on that. That's the reason I was raising the question whether it can be done.
How independent directors are to be compensated? Any ceiling or?
There's no ceiling as such. They said fees is allowed. Fees is again as per the
Sitting
government
fees.
rules. And they can share profits.
Okay, they can share profit.
They can share profit. There's no bar, subject to the 11%, 1% also.
That's 1% or 3%.
And then reimbursement of expenditure. They are not eligible for ESOPs. That's the only condition. Otherwise, they can be remunerated. But usual tendency is to stop with fees. They are not generally allowed to share profit. There will be definitely imbalance between the remuneration and responsibility. I have no doubt about it. In fact, if you look at it, the managing director is heavily compensated and he does the work for the work. Here, the work and accountability is more than the work itself. He does not do the work. Look at the problem of independent director. He is not involved into the job, but his accountability is more than the person who is involved into the job. Risk management is a responsibility of the risk committee, let us say, for example. So they are doing some work. But answerability for lack of risk management is an independent director. He does not even know how much of the risk management is controlled in the actual field, but he has to be accountable to the whole world whether risk management is properly implemented or not. That is the problem. Without sinking hands into the work, he has to take responsibility for the whole thing. He has to go by, he is not coming every day to the office as somebody said, but he has to rely on the statements made before the committee, based on which he has to take the accountability, and he has to stick his neck out. It's a very big responsibility. No doubt about it.
Is it really independent in that case? Because if something goes wrong, he will try to say this thing.
Yes.
I try to hide something.
So it's going to be threatening. It's going to be threatening.
So when the redrafting of the company law started, our understanding was that the private limited companies, small companies will be kept out of the stringent provisions and the law will be made stringent for the large corporations. But today in reality one finds that whatever exemptions were available to a private limited company, which was not a subsidiary, under the 56 Act, even though the exemptions have gone, and they have made virtually working by our private limited company impossible. I would say now they should provide for a fast track that whichever wants private limited company to be dissolved or merged. That should be possible.
I think
it is virtually impossible today.
I think we should read the rules carefully. Some of our concerns can be attended. You look because most of the provisions, wherever they said rules, class or classes of companies as prescribed. So probably the class or class of companies, when you read under the rules, you will get some kind of a relief in this. Generally speaking, yeah.
The rules that so far there is no significance.
No, we have to see. I mean, so far I have not, I can't say. I have not read the rules myself. If I
But
can't
the
make-
mindset I am not able to understand. The people, bureaucrats sitting there, do they understand the real business conditions? Or do they feel that they accept themselves everybody they so?
Very difficult to learn the
I said the best example of his case is section 185.
Yeah.
The replica of it, 295, was exempting private companies.
Yes.
So there was no reason to take away that.
The loss-making private limited company will find it very, very difficult to take
Yes.
This corporate credit is applicable in most of the cases with private limited companies.
Yes.
It may be
Now
by
186 is
legislative
notified.
statutory design, they want to create
186 is
problem.
notified.
You have to wind up and go. If you can't
They have
raise funds, get out.
Going to subsidiary, they have exempted.
But as I said, you should fast track to get out at least.
They
You
should
should get out at least.
See, we want to promote entrepreneurship or we want to kill it.
Yes.
So today, even otherwise doing business in last 10 years and become very difficult. So many regulations are there. regulations and banks have been strengthened, it is something where it is the last name in the coffee.
Not one company, one person company, small company, government company. Every now and then the situation is likely to change year by year. It's very difficult to make the compliance system.
I think cost of running business will increase. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And cost of running business not necessarily because of the productive cost, it's a compliance cost.
Compliance cost, yes.
I think we had a lot of interesting discussion post your presentation. Thank you very much, sir. May I request now Kaushik to present vote of thanks.
Thank you, Vipul bhai. Friends, I have a great pleasure in proposing a very well-deserved vote of thanks to Dr. V.R. Narasimhan. Dr. V.R. Narasimhan has enlightened and enriched us on a various important aspects like board composition, resignation of director, changing role and responsibility of independent director, issues in related party transaction and whatnot. We are extremely grateful to Dr. V.R. Narasimhan on a working day to spare time and to be with us. On behalf of Chamber of Tax Consultants and behalf of all of us, I propose a very well-deserved vote of thanks. Please carry with us.
We'll break for about 10 minutes. So next speaker, Nitin Poddar, is expected by about 5:30. So we'll start at about 5:35.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have something?
I have.